Right now, as you're watching this video, there's a Chinese company that knows exactly how much you just spent yesterday.
No be GT Bank, no be Zenith Bank, no be UBA, no be even First Bank.
They know where you sent it, they know who received it, they know what you bought, and you gave them all this information willingly. OPay and PalmPay, between these two Chinese fintech companies, they control how 35 million Nigerians pay for everything.
OPay gets 50 million registered users. That is 1 in every 4 Nigerians. They use OPay. They get 10 million users every single day. They do 9 trillion naira in transactions every single month. No bank come close.
In the first 3 months of 2025, mobile money transaction in Nigeria hit over 20.7 trillion in naira, and these two companies handled over 60% of it. But here is the part that nobody's talking about. What happens when one country controls how another country pays for everything? Stay with me, because what's happening in Nigeria right now is just the beginning. To write down, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me show you how deep this goes. OPay launched in Nigeria in 2018. Back then, most people didn't trust fintech apps. Banks were still king, but OPay did something very smart. They made a transfer free from the app. They made it fast, and they put agents everywhere.
They went to places traditional bank never cared about going. Little by little, OPay became everybody's favorite bank.
By 2025, OPay has over 15 million users and process over 10 million every day. PalmPay came 1 year later in 2018, and they had a secret weapon: Transition Holdings, the Chinese company that makes Tecno, Infinix, and Itel phones. As of February 2025, Transition phones make up to 50% of all smartphones in Nigeria. Tecno alone has over 23.55% market value. Infinix has over 21.73%, and Itel has over 5.41% of it all. And guess what comes pre-installed in every of this phone? It's PalmPay. So before you even buy airtime for the first time, PalmPay is already sitting in your phone, waiting and watching you. By 2025, PalmPay has over 35 million users and process 15 million transactions daily. Now, let me put this in perspective. Together, OPay and PalmPay control more than half of all mobile money transactions in Nigeria. That's more than every Nigerian bank combined. In fact, these two apps have more daily active users than Access Bank, GTB Bank, and First Bank all put together.
Of course, Zenith Bank, GT Bank, and the rest, they higher in profit. When it comes to profits, they are making more money than OPay. But when it comes to sheer volume of transactions, no bank in Nigeria comes close to OPay.
And here's the part that should worry you. Both of these companies are owned by Chinese people. OPay is owned by Chinese billionaire Yahoo through Opera Group. PalmPay is owned by Transition Holdings. And every single transaction you make, every naira you send, every bill you pay, it all flows through servers that these companies control. So where is the data going to? Let me be very clear about what is happening. When you use OPay or PalmPay, you are not just sending money, you are giving them information. They know your spending habits, they know your income, they know your location, they know everything, how you talk, and they know what you buy. And this is not just about you. Multiply that by 35 million Nigerians. That's over 35 million financial profiles. That's the entire economic behavior of Africa's largest population sitting in the hands of 2 foreign companies. Now you might say, okay, but OPay and PalmPay are licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. They follow Nigerian laws, and yes, that's technically true. But here is the problem. In 2019, Private International bought a Tecno phone in Uganda for testing. What they found was shocking. The phone came with Android 4.42. That version of Android was released in 2013. By the time the phone was sold in 2019, it hadn't received a security update in over 4 years. The phone had over 200 known security vulnerabilities. 19 of those vulnerabilities received the highest possible danger score. And this wasn't a mistake. Tecno knew about it, but they kept selling these phones away. Then in 2020, a cybersecurity firm called SecureD discovered something even worse. They found click fraud malware pre-installed in over 200 Transition Tecno W2 phones across 19 countries. The malware was using people's airtime and data to secretly pay for services that sent money back to the creators of the malware. And the people using these phones had no idea about it. Tecno blamed the vendor in the security supply chain, but the damage was done. Now, imagine this. If a Chinese phone company can pre-install malware on phones and get away with it within a year, what stops a Chinese fintech app from quietly collecting data and sending it anywhere they want? No doubt, Nigeria doesn't have strong data protection laws. We don't have an infrastructure to monitor what these companies are doing? And even if we did, would we have the power to stop them? This is what experts call digital colonialism. It's not armies and guns, it's apples and infrastructure. You give people something they need, and in exchange, you take something they don't even realize that they are losing or even in control. So talking about this pattern, here is the thing you have to understand. This isn't just happening in Nigeria alone. It happens in Kenya, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, Ghana, and South Africa, even across all continents of Africa. Chinese companies are building the digital infrastructure. Just like Hawaii. Hawaii is building 5G networks. The ZTE is laying undersea internet cables. CloudWork is installing facial recognition cameras in cities, and Transition is putting smartphones in everyone's hands. In Zimbabwe, CloudWork signed a deal with the government to build a national facial recognition database. The agreement, the CloudWork will get access to millions of Zimbabwean faces to train their artificial intelligence, and in exchange, Zimbabwe gets surveillance technology. Then in Kenya, Hawaii built the government's data centers, the same data centers that store tax records, health information, and citizen biometrics. And in 2019, a report claimed that Hawaii employees were caught accessing Kenya's government systems without any form of permission. Hawaii denied it, but it kept on going. But the fear remains that when foreign companies control your infrastructure, they control your data. And when they control your data, they are actually in control. As of 2025, Africa has 223 data centers across 38 countries. South Africa has 56, Kenya has 19, Nigeria has 17. But here is the problem. Most of these data centers are either built by Chinese companies or hosted on American cloud platforms like Amazon Web Service, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud. So whether it's China or America, Africa's data is sitting on foreign servers, controlled by foreign companies, governed by foreign laws. And the competition between China and the US is even worse. America is pushing its Clean Network program, trying to block Hawaii and Chinese tech. China is pushing its Belt and Road initiatives, offering cheap loans and fast infrastructure in exchange for access. And African countries are stuck in the middle of this whole thing, choosing between two empires that both want the same thing: control. In conclusion to all this, let me bring it back to where we all started. China now controls how 35 million Nigerians pay for everything. And it's not stopping there. Chinese phones dominate the market. Chinese apps dominate transactions. Chinese companies are building our internet cables, our data centers, our surveillance system. And the question everyone should be asking is, what happens when the country that owns your digital infrastructure decides they don't like the government anymore? What happens when they don't want something to exchange for keeping the light? Because that's the trap. Digital colonialism doesn't look like a colonization. It looks like progress. It looks like jobs. It looks like cheaper phones and faster internet and apps that actually work. But underneath all of that is the same old story. Someone else controls the infrastructure, someone else controls the data, and someone else controls the future. And unless Nigeria and Africa as a whole start building its own digital system, writing its own technology and data protection laws, and investing in its own technology, we are not heading toward any form of independence. We are heading towards a new kind of slavery, one where chains are invisible, but they are just real as hell. The question isn't whether China is colonizing Africa digitally. The question is whether we will realize this before it's too late for Nigerians entirely. If you love the truth and want to be part of the truth, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, bye for now.